Welcome everybody to look at the third film from the Rack and Ruin box set from Eureka. So yeah, this is 1947's Police Raid, also known as Raid or Razzia, and it's kind of weird really because obviously we looked at a previous film from Radiance Films that was called Schnoof, but that also had the title of Razzia something or other, but that's because it's called Raid on the Dope. So yeah, it's interesting that both France and Germany had, similar words, exact words in fact for raid. So yeah, it's directed by Werner Klinger, Klingler, sorry, who did The Terror of Dr. Mabuse. So that's from a previous German focused box set from Eureka. Clocks in at 94 minutes long, and it's a crime film. It stars Paul Bilt, who was in Somewhere in Berlin in a smaller role, but is in a much more significant role in also the German-made film Heart of Stone, which we've reviewed in the past, and that was also released by Eureka. So shortages in post-war Berlin have created a booming black market, and the goods rounded up during a major police raid all seem to come from the same source. The trail leads Commissioner Norman to the Alibaba Cabaret, but he is unable to find conclusive evidence to convict its owner, Gol. So this is unfortunately the weakest of the films in this release so far, as it doesn't feel anywhere quite as unique as the prior two efforts, and the destruction of Berlin, though playing a role in the plight of those living there, as that is why the black market exists in the first place, feels far more in the background than before. It also feels way more like an American crime film from the period, but the plot is still engaging and it does have a satisfying payoff, especially in terms of characterization. The cast is also good, the pacing is on point, there are some decent themes throughout, the portrayal of the black market is well executed. Harry Frank, who plays Gol, who I've not seen anything else from before, but he is really, really effective as the villain in this, especially in terms of the way he looks, and it is well shot. So, a solid film, but yeah, nowhere near as unique as the previous two. And like I said, does just feel a bit more like a pale imitation of more American crime films from the same period. You know, you think of other films that deal with police investigating criminal underworld and such, and it does feel a lot like that. So yeah, that's a little bit of a shame. Still, it's only half a star less than Somewhere in Berlin and The Murderers Are Among Us, but it is still a noticeable drop in quality overall. And another noticeable drop in quality is the quality of the images, the film itself, in terms of the images and the sound, drastically worse than the previous two. Now I know why it is, because obviously DEFA at the time only had the film prints that they could get their hands on, so it wasn't necessarily the best quality of film prints, and it shows with this because the images isn't quite as clear. There's a lot of lines around it. There's spots everywhere, and yeah, it's nowhere near as good in terms of the the improvements that have been done to the likes of the previous two films. Shares the disc with Somewhere in Berlin, and yeah, in terms of extras, where we have a new commentary on the film by crime cinema expert Sergio Angelini, and I do think that's everything directly related to that. But obviously, all of the extras on this release do somewhat relate to each film in their own kind of manner. So, yeah, that's only the really direct thing that is an extra to this. Oh no, hang on, I found one. Crown Wave, new video essay by DEFA historian Sebastian Hirschstück on Police Raid. So we also have that as well. So yeah, still, it's nowhere near as good as the previous two. And yeah, this didn't quite engage me as much as I expected it to, because it does feel a lot more similar to its American counterparts. But still, there's plenty to get from this, especially in terms of its characterization, and that ending is a really rather satisfying one. But yeah, I was expecting something a bit more unique like the previous two films, and unfortunately, I just didn't find it to be quite that unique. And yeah, and for it being part of this Rubble film collection, like I said, the destruction of Berlin doesn't play quite as much of a direct part in this one as it did in the previous two, where obviously in The Murderers Are Among Us, we were in an apartment that was badly damaged and such, and then in the second film we had children playing amongst the rubble, and slight spoilers, one of them does get hurt in the rubble in that film. So yeah, it's just not quite as unique or as as involved within the post-war Berlin outside of the black market aspect. But that black market aspect is still decent enough. So yeah, that is something that it's got going for it. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching. If you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.